for example, it ends up being at the top of the B+ scale.
Right.
And so then if I have an A- a B+, all of a sudden I'm getting a zillion A- minuses, when I might have wanted to give a B+. And then I also don't know how to use the test student feature. So
what do you mean the test student feature? To create a test for the students inside Canvas?
Well, if you go to the Grade Center, you can have a test student.
Oh, yes, the test student down here.
And I don't really know how to use that.
So how you use that is you can get to it either on your home page or the settings page, okay? And what it is when you select student view, that's going to bring you into your test student view. So now you're in the course as a as that specific test student in the Grade Center. So you can answer and take any of your homework assignments that you've put in, quizzes, roll calls, discussion boards. You can do it all as the actual test student. And basically to see how what it looks like from the student view, as well as to actually make sure everything's working correctly, because then you can then go back as the faculty view and actually grade it. A good example is, I'll show you real quick. I actually created a test student, and I actually submitted some homework with the test student already, which is what this is. So I've already submitted this, so as a teacher, I can then go in and take a look at this student's document that they submitted. So you got the originality report. So I'm going into the homework, so I want more details, go into the speed grader. And now it's going to show me the assignment that I uploaded as the test student. So here's the document that I uploaded, all the features you would have for grading the individual document, and then the originality report, because I had it cross-check with Turnitin. Turnitin is our plagiarism software.
And that was the other thing that I wanted to learn how to use. I don't have the Turnitin loaded. And
So,
I get my students think I'm an idiot.
Turnitin is automatically installed into the Canvas courses. We did that at system level.
Oh,
In
nice.
order to turn it on, what you have to do is you have to create an assignment as a online assignment. So basically an assignment that a student can upload a document to. And then once you create it as that, you have the ability to turn it in on and actually cross-check their assignments. And I can show you what I mean.
Yeah, that would be great.
So I'm going to go in, I'm going to recreate a new assignment, okay? And I'm going to make it like a Turnitin one, okay?
Turnitin is the plagiarism software.
Correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new homework assignment, okay? I always go with more options because that's actually where you're going to get to turn it in, and the submission types, which are the most important. So I'm just going to call this homework 2. I don't need a description. How many points? We'll just say the homework was worth 10. Display points, that's, percentage points, letter. That's how you want to do that. I always go with the points.
Why do you always go with the points?
Just my liking. It's just simple. I just keep kind of going through it that way. You can switch it to percentage if you want. It's not a problem. So we can do percentage for this one if you wanted. Submission type, this is the important one. So if you want to have turn it in available, you got to go to the online one. When you go to the online one, you now have the option to upload different documents to it, okay? So, and once you do that, so say I want to do file uploads. Now all of a sudden, once I did file uploads, you notice this plagiarism review became available.
Right.
So I'll do that again, I'll show it. Once you turn it off, click on it, now it's available. So what I've done basically is I said, I want this assignment to be online. I want it to be able to accept files to be uploaded to it, okay? And now I have the option to utilize Turnitin. So I want to go, yep, I want to utilize Turnitin. So now by selecting plagiarism review and I selected turn it in, now I have all the turn it in options, and this is going to automatically get submitted to turn it in. And then the different options you have is, do you want to store this in the online storage database? Basically send it to the repository for turn it in. That means if the student ever submitted the same paper again, it would be cross-checked against it. So maybe sometimes it's like, look, I don't want your homeworks to necessarily be up there, but absolutely a final project or paper, yes, I want that to be officially submitted. By default, it's set to not stored. And then you have the options of where do you want to compare the submissions to. Just the student repository, the website content, periodicals and journals and publications, or all of the above. And then you have the Similarity Report, and this is where do you want to exclude quoted materials, do you want to exclude biographical materials, or exclude small sources. And then you can save these, you can set these as a saved, so say you want to like, this is what I want to do for everyone, so I just want to have to go in and switch turn it in on, you could just do a save as default, so these will always come up as your set default settings for turn it in. And then at the very bottom of the turn it in area, it shows the show the originality report to students. By default, it's set up as immediately. So the second you get the report, the students can get the report as well. You can also restrict it. You can say, I never want the students to see the report. I only want them to see it after the due date, or I only want them to see it after the assignment has been graded.
What do you recommend?
That's really up to your preference on what you want the student to see or not. I personally am one of those, like, I think a student should know right away if they're plagiarizing something. I would naturally say, immediately show it to them. So then, oh, wow, I did kind of do, okay, I want to like redo that or something.
So would you say that final drafts, like a final paper, should be submitted to the repository?
I would say yes, because the reason being is if you submit that and then say 2 years down the road, somebody all of a sudden comes in with the exact same paper because maybe, you know, John Doe paid John Doe to do the paper and they just, you know, paid them for their paper going, hey, it's been 2 years. Maybe this teacher won't remember this one. That's where turn it in would. It would go, hey, look, I have seen this exact paper before, okay, so submitted by this student.
So under store submissions and do not store the submitted papers, there's a drop down there and I would say yes. Yep,
you would just go standard paper repository.
Okay.
I would only do that for finals, big paper, projects, stuff like that. Homework, standard things, I mean, I wouldn't do it for anything like that if it was me.
Okay.
And then the rest of the settings are just the normal ones. If you have any groups, if you want peer review, and then do you want to attach a due date to it or an available from or available until date. And then save and publish. And now that's the homework assignment, homework number 2, ready to go. And to see it, to make sure that it's available and a student can access it, what you can do is now we go back to the home. We go to student view. And now if we go to assignments, we should see assignment there. Oops, there it is, homework number 2. Click on that, and now we can submit our assignment.
And is there any indication that this is the one that's
got
the turn?
So when they hit submit and they go to submit whatever they want down here, they're going to see this. I agree to the tools and end user license agreement. Basically, this right here says I agree that you are utilizing Turnitin, and my paper will get cross-checked with that.
Okay.
If they didn't have Turnitin turned on, this option would not be here.
Okay.
And it requires the student. I can't submit anything without having this checked as a student. And so I have to check that, then I can submit whatever I have for a document.
Okay, because I've had this come up in my class. I haven't been used. I have used other plagiarism tools, and they've been so cumbersome that I've hated them. And then also I didn't have the kind of, they weren't checking against the repository.
Right.
And so therefore, that's the most common use of plagiarism, is they use somebody else's work.
Yep.
And they say, oh, I'll help you out. I can see that you're really strapped, so let me give you my old paper.
Right, and then they don't necessarily rewrite. Yeah.
But the other thing that I wanted to give students the option of, I was, and I've had a couple of instances where people have just caught me off guard, and I haven't caught them. It's come in, I've had another couple of situations where I have nailed someone.
Yep.
So, but the plagiarism software that I was trying to use willy-nilly was so cumbersome that I hated it. But I would like to give students the opportunity to quote from previous work, because I feel like when you write papers, the opportunity to build on something you're interested in is important.
And that was, if you notice, that was one of the options in the Turn It In. I can go right back to that. We're going to go to homework 2. We want to edit it. More options. And what was it down here? Wait for it to load. Come on. And exclude quoted materials.
Okay, so that just means...
So what that means is it's going to exclude any quoted materials in the document from cross-checking with plagiarism. So it's going to say, okay, quoted, I'm not going to handle those. Otherwise, it would go, hey, this is quoted by so-and-so, and it instantly would put up a plagiarism flag.
Okay.
So that's how you could exclude that.
Exclude quoted materials.
Right. Now, granted, they're going to have to put the quotes in for it to understand. So if they don't, it's going to immediately come up as like, well, wait a minute, this was done before.
Okay. Got it.
And then for you to review the report is you just need to go into the grading of the assignment, like this one. And then we go to more details, and then inside here, you should be able to see the originality report right here, which is download that file. And that would be, it didn't find anything, so it's not going to kind of squawk or anything like that.
Okay, that's terrific. I'm so pleased to learn this. And
how is, sorry, go.
I did have another question on this. Oh, I know. When I did like the letter grades,
Yep.
B plus, A minus, A, I would try to change the points that were equivalent, and I couldn't change the points when I was using the letter grade. When you use the points, can you change the number of points?
Absolutely. You can adjust the points any way you want. You can go from 1 point for an assignment, quiz, test, discussion, all the way up to several thousand if you wanted. The letter grades, as far as I know, are hard set to whatever Canvas's values are. So they're not necessarily set to what our criteria is for Community College System of New Hampshire, which is why you're probably having some complications with the, well, no, this should be a B plus, and now you're putting it in as an A minus, or vice versa.
Well, I did, but it's just like I couldn't make, they said, well, you can create your own schema. And, but, I was thinking about doing that, but it just seems so complicated. So, but when you use a point system in Canvas, can you fine-tune the points further than you can with the letter grade?
Yeah, you can fine-tune the points any way you want.
So
and then,
if you have 8.3, you could make it 8.5.
Yep.
And even on Canvas, the schema would say, well, fine, go ahead, do 8.5.
Yep. When it comes to the grade center and you're actually inputting the grades, if they're listed as points, you can input any grade you want. You can put any points in there you want. So you could be 8 point this. And what Canvas will do is it'll literally create the it'll add the extra points to the total. I'll show you right here. So if I go in
So
here,
basically, if you go with points, you have a lot more flexibility in what kind of a B you're giving.
correct. So let's say I do a 5.5 on this one, right?
Right.
So that would switch to a 55% because I set that one up as a percentage. Let's say this one, which was 50 out of 100 points, I could do, let's go 68.6. It will actually put that 0.6 in as the percentage and calculate everything across. So now I have a 64.71 based on my weighted totals in the class and how my grades were inputted here, points-wise. Now the percentage was stuck with 55 because it's a percentage, so it has to be a whole.
Right.
That's where I kind of like the points, is the points you can get really, really specific.
So just for kicks, put in a B plus and see what that turns out to be.
I would have to switch this to,
Letter grade.
yep, give me a second. Assignments, that was homework what, 1? Homework 2. I lost track. What homework was that one? Homework 2, got it. Assignments, so homework 2, edit, more options, switch to letter grade. Oh, you can do view grading scheme there.
Yeah, see, and then if you do like a B plus, I think it.
And this is how you can edit your scheme.
So if you hit B plus, I think it comes out at 90.
Yep, B plus is less than 90%.
Less than 90%.
To 87%. So 87 to less than 90.
But I think if you just put in a B plus, it comes in at 90.
So let's see, did we switch this to letter grade? Yep. So we'll just use the scheme that they have, save. And now we go back to grades. Because it was a 5.5, I got an F. But let's say that this was a out of 10. Let's go 8.6 points. Boom, B. 8.6 out of 10 points gave me a B. Because that's based on the scheme that it has.
But if you were to put in the letter grade first, then like if you put in a B plus, and I think it'll come out a 90.
8.9.
8.9.
Out of 10. Yep.
But I don't think you can change that to a lower.
We would have to investigate the grading scheme. And honestly, like that one, I'll be honest, I haven't really familiarized myself with it too much. So I'd have to look a little bit more into that before I could go into a detailed explanation about that one. But I'd be more than willing to help you out with that. We could sit down together and work on it if you want to change your grading scheme.
Well, I don't know. I'm beginning to think that maybe the best thing to do is just do points.
I like the points just because it gets it right. I mean, you can go right out to the decimal points on it. So if you're looking at it going, okay, this person's got an 89.985, you're like, you know what, that's close enough. I'm going to give them the extra little boost. You get a 90. And then because in SIS, when we post our official grades, we are posting them as A, B, C, D, all the way down. We post them like that inside SIS. So at that point, you know what I mean?
I do. I'm just getting the hang of it. So I'm sorry to be dumb. You know,
that's okay. I'm working on something else while he's doing that.
So please jump in and.
Yeah, this session's all about if you wanted a walkthrough, I can go through a walkthrough, or if you have just questions about something, we can definitely go into those as well.
I'm just mostly about the grades. That's what I'm just trying to figure out how to. And I found some of them before I came. You know how Blackboard did the big thing with all the students, and you could see what's missing.
Oh, yeah.
And what their percentages were.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everything translates well from Blackboard over to Canvas was the problem. So did you have another question?
No, I'm still struggling a little bit with this. If I put in the points and then ask for a letter grade, would they automatically give me what the grade should be?
Yeah, Canvas would do all the calculations for you based on what the final letter grade you would want would be.
So I would get both. I just have to put in the points first, and then it would give me the grade.
Yep.
So maybe that's the way to go, and I can watch it that way. So I'm more comfy with letter grades than I am with points.
The other thing we can do is if we get your scheme, the grading scheme figured out and how much you want, B to B between this and this number percentage, B plus to be between these. Once we get that finished, we can do course copies from that point on, and it will maintain that scheme to all the future classes you course copy it into.
I think I'm pretty happy with the scheme as it is.
Okay.
It's just the ability to fine tune the points. And maybe it's just as simple as putting in the points first and then getting the grade from it.
Yep, and you can always do that, put in all the points first, and then just before you're going to do the official one, switch it all over to percentage or letter grade, and it'll instantly switch all of that stuff from the points right over to letter grade. And you'll still see what the point value is.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. So I'm happy to just hear what your questions are so that I can learn from how you do it.
Sorry, I'm just adding something. So, Lee, as you know, I like to make it so that my students can see a 0 until they get to like a B.
Correct.
And then they can't go down.
Correct.
So what I'd like to do is make sure that that's how it's set up.
So they have a 0 first, and then it.
Once they see a B, it can't go down.
Here you go. It would be this option right here.
I'm sorry, I just was in the middle of adding something to my class that I have tonight, so I wanted to. Okay.
So in the grade center, so in the grade book view, right?
Yeah, grades.
We're going to go up here to the gear.
So I'm in grades.
Yep, you're in the grade book.
Yep.
We're going to go to this little gear, and then you see on one of the options down here, treat ungraded as 0.
Okay, yeah.
So what that's going to do is that's going to immediately switch anything that's not graded. It should switch it right over to a 0%.
Okay, I have that checked off. How do I see what they have as a total grade so far?
As their total grades in your grade book,
Yeah.
you would scroll all the way to the far right, and it will have the totals column for you. And this will tell you what their total is.
Okay, great. That's good, because what I need to be able to do is tell them where their percent should be,
Yep.
and then let them know, like right now they should have around 20%, and I've got a couple with under 5.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, they've had 13 assignments, and I've got 3 that have 10 missing.
It's a lot of missing assignments.
Yeah, well, and there's no way after you're quarter of the way through the class to make that up.
Yep. One key thing I would just throw out as a suggestion.
I get at least 3 of them. The problem with this class is if you don't do the homework, you can't. I mean, it's Microsoft or Word.
Right.
If you don't do it, you can't pass. And,
Right.
It's a beginner class, and half these kids got through high school passing the test.
Yeah. One thing I would suggest by doing your grades that way, explain it either in the syllabus or in an announcement or something to the students.
Explain it at the beginning of the first 4 classes.
Perfect. The only reason I say that is sometimes students aren't used to that grading, and it can freak them out. Because, perfect example, if you look up here, we went from good grades all of a sudden to like 47, and that's only because, we haven't completed all the assignments. It will go up as you hand them in.
Which is why I do it the first 3 classes. I do it right away.
Right.
Because I tell them, if somebody's looking at your grades, like your mom,
Yeah.
tell them right now.
This is how you're
There's no
graded.
way you can get above an F, because we had like 30 assignments.
And you got to get all through all of
28
them.
of them are going to be a 0 until you've done them.
Correct.
But the good news is, because what was happening before is they'd have A's. And then at the end, they'd get an F. Then all of a sudden go from an A to an F.
And then they'd be freaking out going, well, what happened? I was following it. I had an A the whole time. Yep.
But like on this one, I just, it gives you all those points for attendance.
Yep.
And I just muted that assignment. But then when I muted it,
So you were talking about the attendance option?
roll call attendance.
Yes. So the attendance feature this is something that's built into Canvas. Only an instructor can see this piece that I'm showing you right now. All the students will see is it'll automatically, if you're going to use attendance, and the second you apply any kind of attendance to anybody, it's going to immediately create an attendance column in your assignments. You'll see it right here. Boom, roll call attendance. And that's going to immediately create a grade column for that. So that means is it's now going to keep track of any attendance that you take in class. So you can say, okay, today they went to class. They both got a check. Let's say last week, though, this person was here on class, but this person, nope, sorry, they didn't come to class. Boop. Now it's going to start taking effect into their grades. So if we go to grades, you'll start seeing attendance shifting. And it will base that on the roll call attendance. Now that gets automatically created the second you do an attendance piece. If you ever want to get rid of it, what you do is, like you said, mute the attendance option here on the menu, and then delete this attendance piece, and that'll remove the attendance from your grade book.
So I mute it, and then I get, and then I do what?
So what you would do is you would want to delete this piece, this grade call attendance that it would create in your assignments. You're going to delete that, and then just hide the attendance.
So I muted it. And then
We'll go to navigation. Where's attendance? There it is. And then disable attendance.
And then
Hit save.
Down here at the bottom.
Now and then now it's gone. So now if I go to the grade center, I'm not going to have that attendance list anymore. Because
Can you ever bring it back?
Yeah. What you do is you just go back to settings or unmute it from your side, and then I go enable, and I go save. And now what it should do is, now if I go back to my attendance, it should still have kept what it was. See? And then I go back to the previous week, there it is, and now it should have recreated a roll call attendance.
So I can, if I delete attendance here, will it delete it out of the left-hand nav bar? The left-hand links?
No, to get rid of the left-handed, make it disappear from the left-handed nav bar, you have to go to the settings, navigation, and remove it. But keep in mind, nobody can see the attendance button from there. Students wouldn't be able to see the attendance.
See, I like having the attendance button, but I don't like having those 100 points on the attendance because I think it's just in this number.
Right, I see what you mean.
Because it tells me how many classes. If they don't have 100, like I've got a couple that have 60, because they miss classes.
Yeah.
You can run the report. That's the seating chart. That's the take attendance. Yeah, you really can't adjust it outside of the. Oh wait, yes you could. Now I'm thinking about it. You might be able to. So if we want to do an attendance report, I want to recreate that attendance piece.
Again, that's because I had to pay off a few students.
There we go. So I got my roll call attendance back, okay? So now if I go back to assignments, I should have a roll call attendance in here. There it is. So I'm going to go through first. I'm going to throw that back into my participation because that's where I have it listed. because I want that only to be 10% of your grade. Now we can edit this. So we can go in and we can edit it because it's set up as an assignment. So if you want to remove the 100 points, this is where you can do it. So you could say attendance, instead of having 100 points, I only want it to have 50 points. And if you don't want it as a percentage, you could switch it back to points.
I think I could also just mute it for the time being.
That too, yes, absolutely.
And that seems like that'd be the easiest thing. And then at the end of the semester, when I want to kind of get the full tally, I can just unmute it and take a look at where everybody's shaking out.
Now, how did you say to change it from points to percentage?
So when you create, when you get the attendance, okay, and you've set it up, you're going to get in your assignments area, it's going to create an automatic roll call attendance assignment piece, okay? Now what you do is you go to the 3 dots on the far right of it, and you go to edit. And then more options, and now you have the editing capability of that attendance piece. Because basically what the attendance is it's an assignment that's basically an external tool. See how the submission type is automatically set up as external tool? It's basically pulling an external tool in from Canvas.
So I see the 3 dots and I go to edit, you said.
Yep, and then you should have a small window and click more options. Gives you all of these options.
Okay.
I always do the more options. I never use that small window. I just want to see all my options in front of me. That's just how I am. But now you can adjust how many points it is, what its percentage is, will it count towards the final grade or not. You can even add due dates and assignment pieces to it.
All right. So I don't want mine to count towards the final grade.
But you still want to keep track of it.
I still want to keep track.
Yep, and then what you do is if you don't count towards final grade, what that'll do is that'll remove it from the grade column piece, but it will still keep it so you can still edit it and adjust it as you go.
So I'm not seeing that piece. So I've got in it, I see where it says points.
It's right below where it says display grade as.
Oh, do not count.
Do not count towards final grade, and then you got to hit save at the bottom.
Okay.
And then that'll lock it into, okay, it's not going to officially be attached to the grade center.
Okay.
And then you can still keep track of your attendance, but you know what, I've got it on my own paper, I'll handle that, but at least I have an idea of it.
I just checked do not count this assignment towards the final grade. And then when I submit that, then that's done.
Yep. So now what it should do is if I go back to grades, it should have removed it. Oh, it's still there. But it has an exclamation saying this does not count towards final grade. So you can still keep track of it. So I was a little bit wrong about it. It doesn't remove the grade column because the assignment piece is still there. As long as the assignment is there, you're going to have a grade column created. But it does indicate that, hey, this is not going to count towards your final grade.
Right.
So it's a great way of, you know how you have to take attendance for the first 2 or 3 classes because we got to make sure for, does everybody show up or you get an, I think it's an AF or something like that. That's a great way of using the attendance.
That's the way.
Quickly just go down, boop, 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 boop. All right, for the first 2 weeks, give me a report of just this week and this week. Oh, everybody was there, we're good. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Lee. I got to get to class.
Absolutely.
But that's really what I wanted to know.
Sure.
That's the piece that I've been kind of struggling with.
That's why I had this
I
session.
found it today.
I did this session as a nice little reminder and to where people are at, what people would like to know, and how can I help. I plan on having more sessions like this throughout the next coming months. Especially I'm going to have one with how to clean up your course towards the end of.
I need to clean up.
How to clean up your course, that'll be in December, and then how to course copy. Those two will probably be the same.
Do a, and could you do a little later, not on a Wednesday.
Yeah, honestly, if
what
you.
I would like is one on putting videos in the class.
Putting videos in?
Yeah.
Sure.
I've kind of figured it out, but.
You talking about YouTube's or just any video?
You know me, I like to put a lot of those GCFs that we have.
Because there's multiple multiple ways you can do it. You
Yeah,
can upload the video to the course.
I think if you embed them, they
You can
don't,
embed
but
YouTube's
they don't
into it.
they don't course copy. I think if you
The embed code should, as long as it's in a Canvas course, copying to a Canvas
Yeah.
course. They didn't course copy
They
well
didn't
from
course copy from
Blackboard.
I
No,
had to recreate
different
a bunch of
programming
them.
there. But it should copy perfectly fine from Canvas to Canvas.
Okay.
And if I'm thinking it right, there's like 3 different ways to get a video in there. You can either link to it, you can either upload it directly to the
Yeah.
course, or you can embed it.
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot with that because I need so many of them, because I do a lot of short little videos.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Gotta go have a chat with a few people.
Is there anything else that you'd like to look at or have questions on or curious about?
I would just like to see how that works. Like, if you were going to go into that test student and it's in the grades,
Okay.
get rid of that and just put in, like, say, 8.8.
You talk about for here?
Yeah.
So we want to switch this from the letter grade to just 8.8?
No, I want you to put in the 8.8 first and then see what grade pops up.
Okay, so 8.8 B plus.
Okay, so I think my big problem has really been
The scheme?
the sequencing of entering the data. So, like, if I wanted to put in like 8.5, I think that would be putting me 8.5.
B.
B. And then if I go 8.6,
B.
8.7, I should be a B plus, I would guess.
8.7 B plus.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, I've got it. That really clears up a lot of stuff for me because I couldn't go the other way.
Right.
You know how sometimes, like with computers, everything has to be very precise?
Yes.
And so I was just doing it in a reverse order and it was frustrating that I couldn't get it to go. But this, I think, would work well. And then I could use this test student, for example, to see, like, can you see where the grade is shaking out now from across the way?
Yeah. You talk about from all the way over here, the final ones?
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So this is how their grades are set up. Let me switch it back from treat grades as 0. So if we go back to the other view, this is where their grades are shaping up so far.
I see. Okay. All right. I think that I can start. I have all my grades. I have a little system where I just how I do the grades at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going to enter the grades tomorrow. But I can.
And if you need help with that, if you want to have just a one-on-one session, by all means, contact me. What I usually do is I figure out a good time during the week that works for both of us, and then I usually do an hour session. Don't have to take the whole hour. I just usually block off that amount of time, and then if it's more than that, we just set up another session afterwards.
Yeah.
And I can work directly with you to set up your grades. I've done that with a lot of instructors.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah. I think that I'll be okay.
Okay.
Because that was the problem. And it was just kind of a dorky thing, and I just thought, this is really driving me crazy.
Right.
You know, and it seemed unreasonable. Unusually unreasonable, even for a computer.
It's just a matter of the scheme.
Yeah, it's just a matter of the ordering and how you put it in.
Yeah, that test student is worth its weight in gold inside
And they
Canvas.
can't see the test student.
No, you are the only one who can see the test student. No students can see any other student's grades or activity inside a course. The only way they can is if you allow it in certain like discussion boards, if they can see each other's posts or something like that. That would be the only time. They couldn't see another person submitting assignments. They can't see any of that.
Okay. So they have.
Only you as the instructor can see all of it.
Discussions interspersed throughout, like where they can reach others' threads once they do it. But that still shouldn't apply to the grades for things that are basic assignments.
Only if you want them to. With a discussion, you have the ability to turn grading on, but by default, grading's not turned on for discussions. But if you turn,
by default.
Grading of a discussion board post is not turned on by default. You can just create a discussion board and then people can answer it and there's no grades. But you can switch grades on, and what that'll do is that'll then create a grade column here, and then of course all the grade criteria that you normally can do for an assignment would apply for that discussion board.
Okay. I kind of get it.
So what,
even if I have 1 point per discussion?
What I'll do is I'll create a new discussion just to show you. So if I create a brand new one, so here's the discussion, so we give it a name real quick, and then right here, if I go graded, I now want this to be graded. Oh, now all of a sudden we have points possible, how do I want it to display, what assignment group do I want to put it in? So this would be discussion board because I know I have set that up as a specific percentage of the weighted total, and then due dates and everything like that. And if I take grading off, all that gets turned off.
I see. So I have graded discussions, 1 point, and then I have 10 readings, and so that adds up to 10 points if they do all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but under those circumstances, they don't see the test student.
No, they won't see the test student.
Okay.
Because that's another student in the course, just like any other one.
So what I'm hoping is that I can look at what I'm doing and work out grades a little bit by looking at the whole thing, by throwing in stuff with trying it out and test students.
Absolutely. The only time that a student would see anything from the test student is if you actually went into a discussion board and replied to a student's. So you went in as student view and you replied to another student's discussion. They would see the reply from test student, but that's it. They wouldn't see the grade. They wouldn't see anything else. That's the most they would see.
So I do little very short replies on the reading responses. So, okay, so I can clean that up, and then I'll turn on the turn it in feature. Let me just go over this again. Tools and user agreement. Exclude quoted materials.
Yep.
Standard paper repository on final project papers only. Similarity report, save as default.
Yep.
Student web and periodicals.
Yep.
Okay.
And keep in mind, you got these assignment submission type has to be online.
Correct.
Because they got to be able to submit something for it to actually work with Turnitin.
Okay. I do have everything online, except for the final portfolio, which I do is hard copy only.
Understandable. You could still create a grade column for that if you wanted. What you would do.
I do have a grade column for it.
Okay, and you would probably create that, I'm assuming, as on paper.
Correct.
As to submit. You're right, because then it doesn't allow anybody to submit it, but it at least creates a grade column so you can enter your grades into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how I have it.
Yep, that's how it would be set up, is if you did it on paper as the submission type, that's pretty much just creating a grade column so you can just enter whatever you want in. Absolutely.
All right. I feel like I haven't got it online or Turnitin. I'm really delighted that this Turnitin thing was. I felt really flaky in class, last class, because they were saying you don't have any how do you know people are plagiarizing, and how do you? And I was kind of standing there thinking, I know I saw that plagiarism software.
Yep.
But I wasn't sure how it was working and where it went. So now I can come back and sort of say, look, this is how we'll deal with that, and I still think it's important for you to be able to quote from work.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, Lee.
You're welcome.
I'm really delighted that I came over here and got some help.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording now.
What?
I was just saying I'm going to stop the recording.